Hey everybody, I haven't uploaded a video to my channel here in quite some time. The last one was last year, where I was going over some thoughts I was having about dissociation and how common it is in childhood, especially if one goes through trauma or has heightened sensitivity and the world is so intense that they have this mechanism that happens in their mind or their spirit or whatever part of them separates and dissociates. And so they don't actually experience the presence and the embodiment and the breadth of the situation. And so I realized as I was growing older, and the last few years, as I've been doing such deep inner contemplation work, that I've been a professional. If there was a certification, I would have gotten it dissociator. And realizing how present I need to actually be, especially this past 2 years. If anyone is listening that knows who I am, 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a rare, progressive, very painful, incredibly debilitating spinal condition on the inside of the spinal canal. And so it's inoperable, and I'm doing my best, but there's really not much that the medical industry can help me with besides offering me pain medication, which is a route that I don't want to begin. That process of continuously going to doctors and talking about what pain I'm feeling. And what I've realized also is that even if it is a doctor or someone else that you think might be able to relate, for the most part, it's pretty much impossible for another person to know what it is that you are going through yourself. And I have wasted so much energy over the past 2 years, frantically and desperately wanting to communicate to others the severity of the pain that I feel, and trying to come up with analogies such as, oh, it's as if, you're ripping the leg off of a chicken, or if you're crushed by a truck on your back. These are the things that it feels like to me nonstop. I haven't slept very much over the past couple of years since the pain, somehow the injury progressed to a certain point after 18 years of when it began, and I didn't realize that it began 18 years ago. I only found out about it 2 years ago. The point that it is at this point is at a level that makes it so I'm experiencing more heightened pain all the time. Instead, as it was building up over the past years, I would be confused as to why sometimes I was able to do more than other times, and sometimes I was able to sit up longer than other times, and sometimes my back really hurt and I didn't know why, and didn't make sense. And so now I understand how incredibly fragile my spine is, and after 18 years of being injured and after 18 years of being injured and using a wheelchair, my body is tired, and it's been doing a lot of consistent processing and healing and inflammation and resting, and it's a very, very full-time job for me to be present for my body. Like, I am an extra person, like a doctor or a nurse, that is taking care of myself. Since I rent a room on my own in a house with another person who is available if I need to ask for something at a certain time. But really, I am by myself. I don't have a romantic partner. I don't have family that's checking in consistently. And that is, sometimes when we go through big aspects of our life, time frames of our lives, the the things are so overwhelming that we actually need it's hard to think. It's hard to brainstorm. It's hard to think. There's a hierarchy of needs. You need rest. You need sleep. I say that twice because I need double. Food, sunshine, movement, fulfillment, spiritual enrichment, and then the hierarchy goes toward like, now I can start thinking about goals and plans, but I need to have those first things taken care of. And so since I have been scrambling quite a bit since 2020, when I lost the beautiful home that I was living in for 8 years, and I had 4-acre property. I was so blessed to be able to rent that house for so long. I was under the understanding that I wouldn't need to leave so soon, if, definitely not for years and years. I would have been more prepared. It was just after I set up a large pool with a ramp for myself to get into, a beautiful garden with raised beds and pathways of decomposed granite and all sorts of drip irrigation and full of flowers and vegetables and herbs. And it was a magical, beautiful, idealistic type experience that I was able to design and create for myself and for others who I shared it with. And then 2020 happened and the owners sold the house, and it was very unexpected. And it was the first place that I had that I settled into and began to express myself as a homemaker. And I didn't have a stable upbringing. I was always moving from here to there for whatever reason. And so I never really felt like I had a home until I went there and did that for myself and went through a lot of processing and growth in that home, and a lot of loss, and went through a lot. And so when that ended in 2020 and I had to leave and I had to downsize and find a smaller place, and the real estate prices were double pretty much at that point. And so I could only afford very small, very much opposite of what I was living in. And because the increased amount of pain and challenge and debilitation was not allowing me to be able to be up and taking care of things, I needed to have a lot of people come into my life and hire different people to do different tasks. And I had to let go of my 2 children, my cat children, Edgar and Mia. Edgar lives in Ventura, and Mia lives in Santa Cruz. And I'm very grateful. I had them for 12 years, and then I can no longer take care of anybody else but my fragile body. So I had to let them go, and that was a huge process. It took me months. It took me, I decided, and then it was like an 8-month process until it actually happened for each. And they had to be a year apart from each other. I couldn't do it at the same time. So finally I got myself here to this place where I'm renting a room, and I've been here for 6 months. And I have been working on my hierarchy of needs every day, making sure I have enough rest. Do I have enough to eat? Do I feel strong? Do I have enough what I need to help me, cope? And all of these different things. And unfortunately, it's been really hard for me to maintain friendships. And it would take someone that really knows me. And there's a couple people that continuously check in on me, even though I'm not able to reciprocate very well. Some people think, oh, she's probably just laying over there in bed. Why can't she talk to me on the phone? Well, the amount of energy that it takes my brain to process all of the pain and chemicals and cortisol and everything that's happening in my body from it being so severely injured and all the inflammation, I'm I'm on overdrive and I have no extra. I really have no extra to share unless there's moments that come up and I choose to be able to do that, and I can do that, and I do. But I've gotten to a point where it takes so much energy to explain everything that I'm going through, and then to help and listen and process the other person's sharing, and then to have conversations about how we relate and all that goes into having friends, and even more than friends. It's a lot of work. And I realized 3 years ago, or 2020, around that time when I lost the house, it was a huge shift in my life in general, because it was around that time that I stopped dating and putting any energy into even thinking about wanting to be coupled. It's very rare to find good people. It's very, very rare to find people that are fulfilled in themselves, that they don't feel like they need to take anything from another person, especially if the other person's injured and having a hard time. I can't imagine asking for someone in that situation to go over their capacity to satisfy the needs of themselves when they are able to figure out and do the work of how to give that to themselves. And that's when we can find each other, when we're both fulfilled and capable, and then you work together as a team. Not to manipulate each other to try to get your needs met, but to grow past where you're both at and to help each other understand more clearly what that process could be and what your goals could look like. So for now, I really don't think I think I'll be by myself until, and I didn't think I was going to make it this long. I honestly did not think I was going to make it this long. When I was diagnosed and I spoke to the neurosurgeon and I did research on this condition and listened and read people's posts and forums about it, and how it's one of the top 5 most painful things that a human can experience over a prolonged period of time. It doesn't stop. I'm not going to try and explain what's actually happening, because it seems to just really not make sense to people when I try to explain. So if doctors and neurosurgeons have a hard time understanding exactly what's happening, then I'm not going to be able to articulate it. But I know what's going on in my body, and I wish that it wasn't happening. I wish that I wasn't so fragile and in so much pain, and I didn't have to work so hard every single day on every level, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, to help to keep myself disciplined and perseverant, with my heart like a compass that's oriented to, I can do this, I can help myself, until I can't, instead of just giving up. That is a huge, huge assignment. And I am at a point now where I have adapted and acclimated and gotten more familiar with higher amounts of pain and pressure and challenge than I never. This is like top level, like soldier in the trenches, warrior stuff. I didn't know I would have to be this strong, and I don't need any more tests to prove to myself how strong I am. Okay. I have more of my spirit integrated into my body than I did before this challenge became harder. And so I feel like I have a strong spiritual reserve foundation and connection that helps me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to have made it through what I've been going through. So today I finally floated in some water bigger than a bathtub. It took me 6 months while living here to become brave and comfortable enough to buy myself a pool that's 10 feet around, 30 inches high, and then figure out how do I get in and out without hurting myself, without having to spend $6,000 on a lift that will crane me over the side. And I did it. I figured it out. And it took a long time. And today, all the stars aligned, and I got into the water, and then I got out, and then I laid in the sun, and I'm exhausted. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again tomorrow, because what happens is I could get on and off the toilet. I could get in and out of the shower. I could get on and off the bed. I could sneeze. I could look at somebody the wrong way, and then I would have a flare-up in my spine that goes through my whole body, neuroinflammation, and feels like I am crushed by a mountain or a semi on my lower back, and there's no way I could hardly even move, and it lasts for days. So I'm aiming to go tomorrow again, but I might not be able to move hardly. I might just be laying here on my bed, on my stomach, face down, just flat, laying here on my bed like I am, way more than I'm comfortable with. So I had a win, and I guess that's why I feel like I can finally share an update, because I've been wanting to get some major goals accomplished before I feel even equipped and excited about moving forward. I know life is beautiful and everything, but when it's challenging like it is for me and other people that are going through stuff like this, the beauty isn't enough to make up for how hard and painful it is. And so I didn't even want to contribute anymore to this channel if I didn't have anything inspiring to offer. And now I finally feel that since I was able to do the hire and with funding from Patreon and other support that I received from here and there, I just sold a painting. I am so grateful. I was able to get a filter, a sand filter, a pool, buy the help that I needed to install it, get it all going. And I just bought a bunch of other stuff to help maintain the water and a floaty, so I'm not relying just on my arms. I can really relax and hopefully get some strengthening from the sun and the water and eating really good food. And I want to come back here onto this channel and be empowering and motivating and inspiring to anyone who finds the videos and listens. I want to be that big sister, auntie presence that is so aware and is so tuned in to help us all get through what we're getting through. And even though I might not say the exact words that relate to your situation or whoever's listening, I know that I have keys or codes in my voice, that my experience speaks through my voice and helps to empower people, even if we don't know what exactly we're empowering. So I will find a way to do a weekly video, and my goal is to make a weekly video and just talk on a topic and just get anyone here that's been listening to me more up to speed with my deeper contemplations. Since I've been resting a lot, I may have lost a lot of weight and muscle mass, but I haven't lost my mind. Or maybe I have. But I've been doing some really deep inner work and contemplation, and I have some cool ways to think about this reality, and I want to share. But it's going to be it'll be a slow process, and mainly over here I want to just be empowering and show people a case of an individual who's going through impossible seeming scenario and still fighting. And why am I still fighting, and why are we still fighting? The spiritual resilience to not give up and to do the best that I can is all I can say. And that comes from a part of me that's not in this physical body, that's not in my DNA. It's the essence of who I am in my spiritual core. So yeah, thanks for listening.